Buying the wrong home in Miami, that can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. And most buyers don't realize what they've walked into until it's too late. In this video, I'm gonna walk you through the 6 types of properties in Miami that you need to be very cautious about before you buy. Not just what they are, but what they actually cost you and what to look for instead. I'm Milton Andrade. I work with high-income buyers relocating to Miami, a lot from the Northeast and internationally. And I've seen firsthand what happens when someone buys a property that looked perfect on paper, but came with hidden costs that didn't show up until after closing. Let's get into it. Before we go through the 6 types, you need to understand why Miami is different, because this market has risks that don't exist in most places. First, the water. Miami sits at sea level. You've got canals, waterways, drainage systems everywhere. So properties that look fine can still be in flood zones or have drainage issues. Second, building history. Some of the most beautiful homes here, architectural gems, maybe in Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, well, they were built 80 to 100 years ago, way before modern codes, hurricane standards, or current infrastructure. Third, is condo reality. After the Surfside condo collapse, Florida changed the rules. Buildings now need full reserves. Deferred maintenance can't be deferred. This means we're seeing special assessments of $50,000 to $75,000, even $100,000 per unit. And fourth, well, that's insurance. This one surprises people the most. What looks like a reasonable payment can jump by $400, $600, even $800 a month once you factor in the real insurance cost for the age of the property and its construction. Once you understand those 4 things, you start to see these risks a lot more clearly. Let's start with the most common one, flood zones. And I'm not just talking about waterfront homes. You'll find this in Miami Beach, Key Biscayne, Coconut Grove, and even inland near canals. Here's the reality. If you're in a flood zone, your lender will require flood insurance, even if flooding seems unlikely. That can run you $2,000, $3,000, sometimes $4,000 per year on top of everything else. I've had many out-of-state buyers get shocked after getting a quote. Found a home, fell in love, liked the price, and then when they got their insurance quote, they were floored, because they were used to paying maybe $600 a year for insurance, and this particular home cost $12,000 per year. So here's what most people miss, is that this can also affect resale. Fewer buyers, more friction, and lower demand. So what you need to look out for is always check the elevation. Look at the drainage, and if it rained recently, pay attention to where water is pooling. And always request an elevation certificate during your inspection period. And here's a better play. Look at the same neighborhoods, but properties just outside the flood zone or an elevated property, it's a huge difference in cost. Now, let's talk about something a lot of buyers love. That's historic homes. Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, beautiful properties, tons of character. But here's the risk: deferred maintenance. You're looking at potential costs like a roof, $25,000 to $45,000, electrical, $15,000 to $35,000, HVAC, $12,000 to $20,000, and plumbing, well, that starts at $10,000. So all this adds up fast. $60,000, $80,000, $100,000, that's not unusual. What you're seeing online and it looks great, and there's a different story in reality. Cosmetic updates can hide serious underlying issues. We want to look for old electrical panels, 2-pronged outlets that don't have a ground, and old HVAC systems, single pane windows, lousy windows, musty smells. The better play is find a historic home where all these major systems are already updated with permits and documentation. This next one is huge right now: condos. On paper, they look incredible. Amenities, views, lifestyle. But the financial structure behind the building, that's where the risk is. We're seeing HOA fees jump 50% plus. Special assessments, $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 per unit. I was showing a beautiful 2,400 square foot 3-bedroom with a water view in Brickell. But the building was built in 1979, and all those floor-to-ceiling windows, well, they're considered structural elements. The windows alone were $80,000. and the building needed a lot more work than that. So yeah, you could get it at a really good deal, and those buyers did, but they were prepared for that deferred maintenance to come home to roost. And so you want to look out for the deferred maintenance that buildings may require. You want to look through the board meeting notes, the reserve studies, the financial statements. You've got to look under the hood of every building, especially condo building. Now here's a better play. Buildings with strong reserves, completed upgrades, or newer construction, that's going to be less headache. And by the way, if you're actively looking in Miami, I put together a relocation guide. It's going to walk you through all of this: neighborhoods, property types, and what to actually look out for before you make an offer. The link is below. This next one, type number 4, this one is sneaky. You don't always see it, but outdated electrical systems can stop a deal completely, especially things like Federal Pacific panels, fuse boxes that screw in, and outdated wiring like cloth sheathed wiring. And I've had deals fall apart recently because of this, because you can't get insurance with these uninsurable documents. And without insurance, you don't get a loan. Without a loan, you don't have a closing. And back in the day, insurance companies would give you insurance and give you 30 days to make these updates and repairs. Today, that has to be done before closing or no deal. Let's go to number 5, and that is septic systems. I'm sure this one surprises most everyone. Miami-Dade has over 100,000 homes on septic systems. And with rising groundwater, we're seeing more failures. And replacement? Well, that can cost you $15,000 to $25,000 depending on the size of the house. It's not just a septic tank, it's a drain field. So you want to ask directly, do you have a septic system? You want to check for odors? You want to look for soggy areas in the grass? You want to run a camera through all the pipes? And last one, number 6, and this is probably the biggest, and that is insurance. You might think that your payment looks fine until you factor this in. $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 or more annually is not uncommon, and in some cases, even higher. Properties on the water, my advice is if you can't afford the yacht, don't buy the waterfront. Unless you're paying cash and you're self-insuring, because you could find insurance premiums of $150,000 for some of these estates. So think about that. Maybe you want to look inland. Maybe you want to be right across the street. Something to consider. And so here's what to look for with insurance: age of the roof, the construction type, distance from the water, wind mitigation features like a hip roof, hurricane impact windows, recent upgrades that make a home harder against a hurricane. And so a better play, well, that's going to be looking for homes that have full impact windows and doors, newer roofs, modern construction, and higher elevation. So here's the takeaway. None of these are deal breakers, but they are deal changers. Every one of these issues is avoidable if you know what to look for before you make an offer. And that's really the difference between a good purchase and an expensive mistake in Miami. If you want help navigating that, or you're thinking about buying here, reach out to me directly. And if this was helpful, subscribe to the channel. I break down the Miami market every week so you can make smarter decisions with real insight, not just what you see online.